Hello and welcome to episode 5, part 2 of our Paladin journey. We find ourselves in the Stout Lager Inn in Thalsamar in Loch Madan. And we are going over here to hand this quest in and that subsequent hand in as well to get things out of our log. At some point we do want to go back to Westfall, complete the last few Westfall quests. Get those out of our log too, but there's at least one of those we can abandon. I don't want to pick up Rocklist quest, maybe the Hunter's Post as well, and the excavation report.
Can I help you? Off and away. Alrighty then.
Okay, down we go here.
How are you? Be good. Safe travels. What's on your mind? Be good.
What can I do for you?
her back.
Really? Yeah, I don't even know what to say. Full damage bad. Okay. There's a quest in Faralas that will let me know what's around us. I mean, it's a pretty simple quest. I mean, like if you use the parachute correctly, there's more danger of jumping off and landing on enemy mobs than coming to any real harm. But of course, if you don't time it properly, then you're going to be in some really, really big trouble. The ground is hard. I think we probably do the crocolisk hunting first. Can't remember what its first thing is. That's the mountain buzzard.
See you later.
It's fine. We could do 6 mountain buzzards.
How are ya? Off with you. Safe travels.
You're a bit late for that. Just like, it's a kill credit quest. Like, one. The idea is we kill 6 buzzards. Of course. So, yeah, we'd be done. You want to do these quests in a group because shared spawns are annoying otherwise. Turn. It's a chain. You
a good one. Safe travel.
5 Elder Mountain Bullets. While was being careful of the Horde Patrol. Yeah, oh yeah. Right. Party. So dumb. There is it's a timed quest, and there are a limited number of boars alive. Just not even. I mean, you can see how restricted the spawn was there. Like it's a timed quest with there's maybe 10 boars total. Like if everyone didn't group and try to do it themselves, you'd never get it done in the timer. You'd just all be constantly failing. So that
Hey there.
Ah, yes. We've got revenge quest. There's more.
What brings you here? I am listening.
Oh, it's 20 plus. Delete.
Great to meet you. See you soon.
That is something we can do later. Oh, I see. We've done it already. That's fine. A higher level. Not helpful or healthy to get down there. I mean, that kind of makes more sense. Same time, less sense. I mean, obviously you want more chance at winning, but yeah, maybe feel like you could accomplish more if you got far on what you'd found. But I mean, if it's open BOEs, maybe. So I don't know. I mean, it's understandable if you value winning in a tournament. If it's not self-found, then Uh-oh. Why are you trying to do belly grab 20? With 2 more meat. I do love this particular island for crocolisks. Respawn nice and fast. Oh, hey, Ice. Yes, the hunter hit 60. We started the Paladin. This is day 5. Haven't seen you around for a while. You still hardcoring? And thank you, thank you. Today on Hardcore WoW we're discovering that crocolisks do not have meat. Yeah, it was nice to hit 60 with the hunter. It was a smooth playthrough, really. But then kind of expect that with hunter, to be honest. It was just a nice change of pace from warrior. Whereas the paladin is pretty much back to what warrior was. Here you go, auto attacking. Of course, the single button judgment macro. No, we haven't done a dungeon yet. I'll do dead mines at 20. Since I will want to tank it. So I'm not going to tank that at 18. That would be a little bit mad. I don't think I could pull the ship safely at that level. Also need to get a whole lot more ore so that we can actually craft some gear. Alliance side seems to lack a lot in quest rewards. So we're mostly in whites or greys, like 2 green items. Oh, 3 if you count the cloak, but it's like +1 armor over what the grey cloak does, so it's not really an upgrade. Horde, of course, have Ragefire Chasm that they can get some starting greens from with relative ease. So our bank currently is pretty much ore and herbs in its entirety.
You got my attention. See you soon. Safe travels. How are you? See you soon.
I didn't really want to do blacksmithing, but I want to tank dead mines. I don't think there's as much choice in the matter. To craft some mail gear, because if I buy anything from vendors, it's going to be white, not have any stats. And to buy all of the pieces, it's not cheap at all. It's like 30 silver an item, something like that. Whereas if you craft stuff yourself with ore, it's certainly more doable. It does, however, take time. You have to gather the materials. I don't want to take the profession particularly high, however. We don't need too much in the way of ore. But we still need a significant amount. I think it takes somewhere in the region of 220 copper, and then another 80-ish tin to get where we want. With tin, of course, being the problem. Because in the early zones, of course, it doesn't really appear in accessible locations. There's this bit of tin around here, and then up here is elite ogres. So that's really this is in Trog Caves that we almost sort of out level a little bit. So we might be able to look in those. But I don't know how many nodes are up at once. And the other thing, of course, is because it's in a cave, you have to kill everything in your way to get to it. But yeah, I just don't. This is level 4. I think that's more like level 11. That's grey and dropped off something at a super low level. That was from a more recent quest. That's not terrible. And that's from a recent quest. That's not too terrible either. Again, the braces I need some sort of replacement. And if you're going to tank a dungeon, certainly your defences need to be at least mildly in order. It's looking as though we'll easily have more than enough copper. So if it comes to it, we can use more expensive recipes with copper for the last few points and use less tin. But also we might be able to find more tin around in the wetlands, provided the mobs aren't too far outside our level. That could be an option. Paladin's not too bad, I feel, on the whole. The main reason for, aside from aggro range, for hitting 20 before tanking, is we want to pick up consecration from talents, so that we've actually got some AoE threat. It would probably be a good dungeon combo to the Paladin tank 3 mages and a healer. And I think you get... I probably wouldn't do it on hardcore, but certainly on softcore you get what's called spell cleave dungeon groups, where you don't have a tank. You just have casters, and that's it. with one healer.
What can I do for you? Keep your feet on the ground. Be good. Safe travels.
I just need to go to Ironforge. Yeah.
I have the finest wires in the land. See you soon.
Yeah. So look up spell cleave comps for WoW Classic. I'm sure there'll be some sort of detail for them online. Like it might be exactly what you're thinking of. Although I say sometimes they do them without tanks. Yeah, that's sort of kind of the point. They're able to pull, and as long as, well, they just AoE everything down. And because they're all kiting, it's a lot easier. So I'm not sure I do that in hardcore though. I'd have to be comfortable testing it in normal first, I think.
Keep your feet on the ground. Here there. Off with you.
Right, fly back to Ironforge. Yeah, I mean it's getting hit is quite a big consideration though, isn't it? I don't know how reliable Shatter is for continued control. Yeah, part of the reason that that the spell cleave groups work is that you're not having a tank to get hit, so there's technically less pressure on the healer if you're able to kite it all instead. But it's been a very long time since I did spell cleave. Very long time.
Great to meet you. Be good. See you soon. Keep your feet on the ground.
Question is, how much do we need to put in the bank?
You got my attention. Sherbek.
Okay, I'm gonna use another bag.
Making a special purchase? Very good.
Interest ya in a pint?
Okay, so we've got enough rough stone. Mhm. Almost enough copper.
Off with it.
Now I'm not starting to get nervous about completing them all sequentially. You just have to pay attention and lock in and play, not daft, I think.
Honored, I'm sure. Off and away.
I mean, there's always a chance that something goes wrong, but you just have to do everything that you can to do it right, you know? Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, it's okay to sort of poke at the limits of the character to a degree. And I've kind of done that with like questing in Westfall and stuff. I've been a few times that it's clearly been too much, and I've withdrawn early in time and you know, used lay on hands or divine protection.
Well,
I think one of the key takeaways is the horde areas really do like flow fully and properly. Like you can play Durotar or Mulgore or Tirisfal Glades into the next appropriate zone, be it Barrens or Silverpine Forest. And there's nothing wrong with it. Like the quests follow on appropriately. You maintain roughly the right level for the quest that you're doing. Whereas Alliance, it's weird. I did all of Elwyn. We did all of Dunmorrow. We've done most of Westfall and Loch Modan. And we're still only barely like around the same level of the content. Like there's after completing this quest and handing it in here, we're level 18 and the quests we're doing are 17. The only thing that we can do that's to ease that, because I feel Paladin plays very much like a warrior. It feels like you want to be
See you soon. Safe travel.
it feels like you want to be doing quests that are a lower level than you. But unlike unlike Horde, you can't easily get to that third faction's starting zone in order to achieve that. Like, either you've got to do this absurd swim from Westfall up the coast behind Stormwind and then around Dunmorrow to get is it Theramore? No. Oh, what's the one in what's the place in Wetlands called? Theramore's Dustwallow Marsh, isn't it? Yeah, Manethil Harbour. Thank you. And you can do the wetlands skip from Dunmorrow, running along the mountains and then dropping down and swimming across. But I mean that's if you know the skip path well. I'm not familiar with it. I could look up guides for it, but given the challenge I'm doing, I don't really want to risk sliding back down and dying. Yeah, they probably did. Asking for a portal would make sense. But it's not in keeping with being self-found. So we're not going to be doing that. I don't know what level the quest is to go down and through here. Why do I want to go to Darnassus? Well, I would want to do Darkshore, I guess. Because that would have some lower level quests that I can do. Yeah, but I did the swim on a different character, and it's not bad. It's not hard, sure. But I did find it somewhat tedious. But we can avoid these mobs now that we're a similar level, I guess. And then see how bad the road is in the wetlands. I mean, this quest is level 18, and it directly says that it takes you to the other side of the wetlands, so it must be possible at this level. I guess it just feels like the horde area is all so well connected. Like even though Tirisfal Glades is on a different continent, because you've got the Zeppelin ride that you can take, it's actually kind of closer before you've got the flight point than Mulgore is. You know? Well, as far as from Durotar is concerned. Well, I mean, they've got boats to Darnassus. Like, the issue isn't transport to and from Darnassus. The issue is where access to that transport is located. Because you've got to go through this zone. And you know, these things aren't all that far from the road. You got level 23s over here. Well, that's 5 levels above me. And I'm 18. But But if if you think about wanting to play as a low level character in the other low level zone, short of the wetlands, skip over the mountains, it's just not possible. I mean, certainly not on hardcore. I wouldn't want to run through here as a level 10, you know. This would be decidedly more death-inducing than running through barrens is as a level 10 on if you're playing a Tauren. Like, as long as you're paying attention, barrens is completely safe. But if you try this at level 10, I mean, you're running past things that are 12 levels higher than you, 13 levels higher than you.
Talk to me. Be good.
We'll do this one.
I got the best deals
Hmm.
anywhere.
I'm going to see if I can hand in this quest, get it out of my log. Just keep an eye on all the things here. It would just be nice to have some way of making that trip safely as a low level character. Because, like, at the moment, if I was unable to get to Darnassus, what am I really left with?
No. Keep your feet on the ground. Be good. Save the travel.
You know, I could either do quests that I'm constantly at risk of dying on, or I could grind XP by killing stuff. Like, that's it. Like, so, like the People's Militia, for example, I fought and killed a few things. The camps where the knuckle dusters are, the mobs are so close together that you can't physically attack one without pulling at least one more, possibly two. Which, I think I was level 17 at the time. You're talking about equal level mobs as a melee tank. You know what the deal is with that. You just lose, and you lose hard. So that's not an option. You can't, you can't do the quest because it's just not possible.
I got what you need.
And if you can't do any of the quests, that only leaves grinding. Well, I don't really fancy like mindless grinding for that long, you know? So I figured it's time to head on over to Teldrassil. Do some quests for rep. Oh yes, I could practice it, but I don't know. I figure if I do this without using, like little skips like that, then it'll, it makes what's accomplished that much more. I don't want to say impressive, like maybe pure is the best way to describe it, if that makes sense. Like I'm only taking and forming groups that occur organically and naturally. Like which quest was it? Broken Alliances. When I was looking to do that on my hunter, someone was asking for a group for it, and I joined them. And then they asked a level 60 to come and help and do it for us. And I was like, well, no, sorry, you're welcome to go and do that with a level 60 yourself, but I'm not coming along if you're having somebody essentially carry you through the quest. Like it defeats the very point of self-found, Like I want to play through everything. I want to be at risk of pugs and weird things happening, etc., etc. Because if I can still get to 60 despite all of that, it makes it like matter more. Like, I'm sure it would be very easy for somebody to sort of do what I'm doing, level one of each class to 60 on hardcore, if they got free carries through every dungeon, and they got mob tagged up.
Light be with you, King's honor, friend. For the Alliance.
It would be
With honor, friend.
a simple thing,
Light bless you.
but it would also be kind of meaningless and pointless.
Hey there. Have a good one.
Do you know what I mean?
Hello. a good one.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Okay, it's very much like what would the point be? There was someone in guild chat asking for a carry through a dungeon the other day. And I just thought, well, you know, why are you playing hardcore then? Like, you know, if you want some random high level to come and solo you through the entire place just so you can get the loot. What's the point? Like the whole point of hardcore is it's an achievement. The moment you have somebody just play the game for you, essentially. Why? I mean, conversely, having said that, um, so I saw somebody who was trying to get a character ready for a Mock Gra tournament, asking for a run through a dungeon today, and that makes a lot more sense because they're not allowed to like level past a certain level in order to participate, and they obviously still want a chance at getting all the relevant loot that they would need in order to have a chance at success. But like, you know, that's, you're making a character for a specific purpose at that point. Um, so it makes more sense. I'm just going to be back a second. I need to get a new drink. Right, I'm back. I'm just going to grab Light Point from Theramore Isle. And I might grab that travel to Draenor as well.
What can I do for you?
Hello.
So the main reason I grabbed that quest is because we can't, in the time it took us to get from the boat to the Light Point, by the time you get back to the docks, the boat's leaving. So there's no way we could simply hop on and depart again. We sadly need to wait for next boat. But yeah, I want to do the quests in Teldrassil to lead into Darkshore. And just have a way that's more interesting than mindless grinding to get our experience up a bit more, so that we can be slightly ahead of the curve again. I think it felt easier coming the other way, to be honest. I think that when we played the Druid, going from Teldrassil into Darkshore felt like a smooth transition, and like Darkshore down into Ashen Vale also felt pretty smooth. And once you were in Ashen Vale, you could happily go cross continent, get to Ratchet, the Barrens, and you were pretty much fine. And of course, you could also get from Darkshore to Manethil Harbour. And by that point, you were a decent level because you could do Ashen Vale. You could equally do the wetlands. And in doing that as Night Elf never felt bad. Like it never felt that you were behind the curve. It never felt like so. I mean, it felt like what you know the quests that you were doing were appropriate and there were enough of them. Though I think once you're most of the way done through Elwyn Forest, if you haven't just grinded mobs for no reason, you're already like trying to do equal and higher level quests. That's why I went to Dunmorrow around, was it level 9? Something like that. And then we played through Dunmorrow, and eventually, same problem. You know, the things that you're starting to fight again are of a level that is comparable to yourself, and you start to get issues where you're pulling too many mobs at once, and because they're equal level, you can't fight them like with safety consistently. But yeah, Darkshore just has a ton of things to do. It really does. So, read info. Yeah. Here we are. Not sure.
Hello. The next we
Yeah, I think we just go straight. Yeah, no. No. I'll have to come back and wait for the boat, but we're already here. We want to get the flight point. It doesn't take the boat long to go back and forth. Discovery level. Nice.
Hello.
He pulled 3 warlocks and 3 swashbucklers. No wonder he died fast. It's like the only boat that the side you get on the same side each time.
Ishnu Allah. Be careful.
Ishnu Allah. Jannat.
Into Darnassus we go. Now, is there anything we want to pick up while we're here?
What brings you here? We'd like to know. Goddess bless you. Illumine the light your path. Go in peace.
And pick that quest up when we come back with the spinnerets, I guess. Did I have any good clips from the hunter? I don't know, it was all pretty stable and steady. I did pawn captures queen. That was alright. As usual, the spawn timer on that is really weird and awkward. You get respawns while you're doing it. Well, you do if you're doing it solo anyway. Just trying to think back to the last few levels. Yeah, I mean, there was never anything that was like a mega dangerous situation or anything like that. It was pretty solid, relaxed, consistent. But I mean, it's a hunter, you know. That's that's what they do. Although of course you do see other hunters die. So there's obviously some danger somewhere, but I couldn't really tell you where that is. I mean the pawn catcher's queen was certainly the sketchiest thing to do.
Be with you. Goddess watch over you.
So it's the quest in Ungoro Crater that you get from Gadget Zan that has you go into the Silithid hive, use the scent lure to attract the queen, and then kill her. But it's not that simple, of course. The Silithid hive respawns pretty quickly. The mobs in there, some of them do a slowing poison, some of them do a poison which reduces armor. And when you activate the lure, you get 3 waves. I think the first one's 2 mobs, and then 3 mobs, and then 2 plus the queen herself. And it's a small round chamber, so like by the time you've killed wave number 2, not only is on one side of the chamber the queen plus 2 more mobs going to spawn in, but also on the door side of the chamber you're getting respawns on top of you. So it makes it rather awkward solo. Certainly not something to do at the same level as the mobs.
What brings you here?
It's a very notorious quest. Like a lot, and I do mean a lot of people die trying to do that. A lot of people just skip it because of how dangerous it is.
Peace be with you. Farewell. May the stars assist you.
Yeah, I think I think we had to feign death and reset partially. After the second wave, just because it wouldn't have been possible to do wave 3 straight after wave 2. If you do it as a group quest, it's not really that much of a big deal. But it is certainly hard to solo. Oh, and there was I went with some people from the guild to do a Paladin dungeon run because they were really struggling to find a 5th person for their group. And I thought, oh well, I still needed the ring from Paladin. I never got it, but I still needed the ring at the time, so I thought, oh well, I'll go along for the princess run. And help them out. And that's the sketchiest dungeon run I have been on. I think it's on a par with the close call I had with the druid in Deb Mines. Just purely because of how bad the tank was. So for the princess run, you know, you use the scepter, you jump through the portal, you enter the dungeon, all is great, right? You go on your way. So 4 of us entered the portal. The healer was lagging behind a bit, and rather than wait, the tank decided it would be a really great idea to just continue on, walk closer to like where the dungeon starts inside properly, past the hydras, and then of course pulled a hydra and proceeded to get knocked around by the hydra, narrowly avoiding pulling more hydras. They used a target dummy. They tried to use like the knockaway distance as like some sort of safety creator for themselves. And all of this, of course, without the healer even being inside the dungeon. How they didn't die, I don't know. But I mean, nobody else could really do anything to help them because they were down below half health before like 2 of us even really realized what on earth they were doing. They'd run ahead with just 1 other damaged person following them. So that was a rather insane start to it. The healer came in and healed them, and we continued. I was very wary, however, and very much keeping an eye on what was going on. And everything went not greatly. Like they seemed quite impatient as far as pulling was concerned. But it went relatively smoothly. Like they for a tank they were doing a lot of damage as well, so that that helped balance things out a bit. But just before Princess you go down that ramp and there are 2 giants on either side at various points. So we cleared the first set of giants, and then as we approached the second set of giants, the healer asked to like stop for a mana break. I said, we need to wait for the patrol because it's going to be coming back. And the tank, I assume they just didn't even bother to read chat, but they just pulled the giants anyway with the patrol incoming. It didn't turn out badly, but we had to like kite both giants backwards up the ramp while trying to fight them. and then of course fight the patrol afterwards. I think it was a druid healer, so I think they might have used innovate on themselves in the end, just so that they had mana. But it was not. It didn't feel good at all. It felt really, really dangerous and ill thought, and just uncomfortable as far as a group went. I was very glad when it was over. I certainly wouldn't do another dungeon with that tank. It's not the attitude to have on hardcore. Like, I do appreciate that for some dungeons, if you've got the if you've got the gear to have the damage output, then a large parts of it large parts of leveling dungeons can be absolutely fine to do at that speed, without issue and without struggling. But I think you have to know really which those dungeons are and which dungeons aren't, and when to lock in and pay attention. Like, I think if they take that attitude and continue it into dungeons like Blackrock Depths, Strat, Sherlow, then
I am honored.
they're going to get people killed, if not themselves.
Greetings.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to be part of the group when that happens.
Greetings, Denadris. Good luck, friend.
I think that about sums it up for the highlights of with the hunter's final few levels. So these growl camps are actually really good as far as finding these mushrooms are concerned. For some reason, a lot of the mushrooms grow around these trees. And around the huts. More there and there. Loads of them. Moon petal lily. And this in first.
How may I help, dear goddess? Goodbye. Farewell.
Go hand the antidote quest in.
Farewell. Del Magnus. Feel free to browse. View the stars blindly.
I am honored. Be careful. Goddess, watch over you.
So now next we need to go all the way through here and up the eggs. So tonight's stream is drawing near its end. Tomorrow we'll be able to have much more time than we have the rest of this week. So I'm hoping to be able to do a lot more progress and get our first dungeon run in as well. Yeah, on the whole, this week has been somewhat disrupted. So It would be nice for once to have a day where we can dedicate more time. Incidentally, a lot of people die climbing this tree. They make the mistake of well, there's no railing here. So frequently what happens is they just, well, they just fall. That's a survivable drop. Oh, you can easily get over the handrail at that point. Yeah. Wow. Yeah, when you've out-leveled the quest so much, the reputation reward is tiny. Next level, we can get consecration. And now, of course, let's go all the way back up the tree. At least, however, we've set our hearthstone here. So, once we're done, once this has been handed in, and we can directly hearth there. We've already picked up the quests that are obtainable on the road. People just accidentally run off when corners happen. Need to be very careful. I say need to be very careful. Need to pay attention.
Greetings. Go in peace. Farewell. May the stars guide you.
Now we can head to Dolnar. Well, half. Get there easily.
Feel free to browse. Good luck, friend. I will light your path. Good luck, friend.
chat fait là.
Almost done. Right, please.
What brings you here? Farewell. Bernadres.
Yeah, we abandon that one.
Hello. Bashar Salam.
Greetings. Illumine my path.
Alright, there we are. So we're going to leave it there in Dolnar, and we'll continue from here next time. I feel we've accomplished a decent amount. We have got a lot of the blacksmithing materials. I'm very much hoping that if we have a look at Darkshore, there's much more tin dotted around. So I'm hoping this is going to be a much better source of tin for our blacksmithing gear. And of course, as we progress in Darkshore, we will eventually be able to go down into Ashenvale as well. And there's a decent amount of tin there too. I do enjoy the Teldrassil zone as well. It's a nice and pleasant time. The mining has had a bit of a dent on our /blade. I mean, it's still not too bad actually. 19 hours, level 19. Not terrible. It's not perfect, but we did spend a long time in Elwyn this morning, mining all the copper. That's okay. Yeah, so we'll continue with Teldrassil and on into Darkshore tomorrow, and we'll get a Dead Mines run in, I'm hoping. Assuming we do pick up enough tin to make the bronze ore, which we should do. But all that's left for the moment is to say thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.